Last June, a year ago, I played an alien in one of the episodes, and it was so fun. And then I made friends with them, and I was going to be coming back this year, this past June, to play a Klingon, and it was awesome. But right before they started shooting, some circumstances necessitated that they had to get a new director. And so I went, I'll do that. And so I got to direct this episode a month and a half ago. It's an amazing episode. It's called Katoomba. The cool thing is, how many of you original Star Trek fans in here? Come on now. All right, the rest of you, get out. Many of the episodes of Star Trek New Voyages were actually written by people who wrote episodes for the original series. And these ones were just never produced because the show was canceled. So the stories are really good stories. Okay, let's show the pictures. Now there aren't a lot of them, but I've been telling you guys how amazing, like their sets and everything is. And lest you think I'm lying, did I like the Star Trek movie? You know what? It was missing to me. It was missing what made Star Trek so great, and that was that deeper heart. You know what I mean? You always felt like there was a deeper meaning to the original Star Trek, and the character relationships, and that was just missing. It was very surface. It was very adventure film. It was very summer blockbuster. So even though the names were the same, I felt like a lot of the intent, the original intent, was missing. Plus, I don't like what they did with a lot of the characters. It really ticked me off that they got Spock making out with Uhura. That's just a crappin' Hollywood thing. You know, they throw that garbage in there, and to me, I don't like it. That's just me. Just me. You asked me, that's my opinion. You're welcome to love it. Everybody, every Star Trek fan knows that the Enterprise was built in space. It wasn't built on Earth. And certainly Captain Kirk didn't watch it being built. And certainly no one in their right mind would put a rebel moron like Kirk in the movie as captain, jump over everybody else that's been in the service, and make him the captain of the flagship of the fleet. He disobeys orders the whole time, he almost gets people killed, and at the end of the movie he's given the captaincy of the Enterprise. Excuse me? No. The original Captain Kirk spent years in the service as an ensign, a lieutenant, you know, working his way up. And I don't know, just a lot of it just bothered me. It bothered me how fancy schmancy the bridge looked. This is supposed, you know what I mean? It was like all that shiny white linoleum crap. And then meanwhile, the engineering deck looks like a submarine from World War II with all these pipes and stuff everywhere. So it's like they didn't get really together there. This is Edward Elric, and we're going to sing a little birthday song just for you. Here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Danielle. See, we got it right. Happy birthday to you. Yay! In the first episode where he's talking about Commoner's coffee, and there's a girl who says, I think my father would be mad at me if I drank this. Do you remember this? And do you remember what Tamaki says? Okay, hold on, we're going to act this out.
I'm afraid my father will be angry with me if I drank this.
What if I let you drink it from my mouth?
Then I drink it.
When we first started recording, we were only about 15 minutes into recording the first episode, and Caitlin Glass, who was directing it, said, you know what? I just realized something. She said, Tamaki is kind of a blend of 3 of your more popular roles. And I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, he's very intellectual and very, well-educated and well-spoken, like Phi from Tsubasa. But then he's also really, and smooth like Dark Mousy when he wants to be, right? And then whenever he flips out, spazzes out like Ed. So he's kind of all three of these mixed together. So the trick was to kind of be genuinely romantic and genuinely real, and then flip out.
Where are we at, Dan?
Ram. Is it brewery or steakhouse? It is a place called Ram.
What are we gonna do here, Dan?
Sometimes haunted flower needs to eat.
It is day 3 of Gen Con, and Team Haunted Flower is beginning to feel the effects. Earlier, Dan was falling asleep in the corner while we watched a documentary called HoboCon, which was the story of some guys mooching off all their friends last year. We still have some more stuff to do today, including a Fullmetal Alchemist Love Fest with Vic.
I love this kid so much. We've had so much fun together, and it has been such a joy to feel like I have a little brother. And we become friends like that. We do conventions together, and we'll wrestle around and throw each other around and have snowball fights and, you know what I mean, mess with each other. And I love that. I love it. Al does what he does for Ed, and then Ed comes back to consciousness, and he says, "Why am I crying?" And like he realizes something really bad has happened. I was just like, oh my gosh, I was losing it. And I loved it at the same time, because as an actor, to feel such an emotional connection. When we did Full Metal, I didn't know what was going to happen. I purposefully shielded myself from the end of the series because I didn't want to know. I wanted to find out as Ed was finding out. So the reaction would be genuine and guttural, you know, and instinctive, and you know, oh my gosh, you're kidding, you know, and then quick, and the director would be like, do you want to take a minute? And I'm like, no, I don't want to take a minute, let's record now while I'm, you know what I mean, let's do it now, let's try to capture that moment. With Barry the Chopper was the first, that last little monologue that Ed does was so impactful and really grabbed me, and that was the first indication that I had that this show is really something special. A lot of people are like, what's your favorite shorthand, and do this one and do that one. I don't even remember them, and I'll tell you why. Because I didn't have to memorize them, right? They were scripted, and I was reading them off a script, and as soon as I got it right, we move on. There's so many people whose asses I need to kick, I'm gonna have to make a list or something.
Yes.
And I couldn't believe I said it. I'm like, Ed said that really? So to where it lives, I promise you I'd go everywhere I've been to find a way to make atonement for my sin and see a smiling face again. Through the sadness take your flight and become the wings that pierce the veil, spreading strong and true tonight.